This is Stuff You Like, you can call me Ursa, and today I'm going to let you in on a not very secret which I may have alluded to before. I'm really good at moving house, you guys. And part of the reason for this is that I am, in fact, quite organized, but also that I'm a fairly ruthless declutterer and I don't have a lot of stuff. Because collecting significant amounts of physical possessions is nice and all if you don't move 13 times in 13 years, but if you do, it's just a massive pain in the posterior. No, not another decorative box, make it stop. That said, I realized that hardcore minimalism isn't for everyone, including me. So let's talk about Marie Kondo and her non-minimalist minimalism. I swear that's not as dumb as it sounds. Earlier this year I saw Katie Willert tweeting about the KonMari method of getting rid of stuff which isn't sparking joy, which led me to a bunch of articles on Marie Kondo's book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, the Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing. No wonder people just call it the KonMari method. The thing is, the method seems perfectly attuned to my personality, which is to say, I'm intrinsically lazy, but also the sort of person who tends to go on obsessive binges. So that whole tidy up all in one go and then it will be much easier for the entirety of the rest of your life thing? Perfect for me. And as it turns out, for Marie Kondo, who is endearingly eccentric. The basics of the book go like this. You resolve to make tidying a special event, unlike your regular put it back when you're done with it tidying. You imagine your destination, your ideal life. And with this ideal life sitting in the back of your brain somewhere, you proceed to the actual sorting. Gather all the stuff in one category into a big pile. The category aspect is important. The big pile aspect is also important, because otherwise, how would you know exactly how much stuff you had? The first category, for example, is clothes, but if you have enough clothes that this would be too big, the first category is tops. All of your tops, from all of the places they have been stashed. Then you hold each item in your hands and see what resonates with you. What sparks joy. The book has quite an animistic approach, encouraging you to thank your stuff before sending it on its way to wherever with gratitude. It gets woo-woo. A little bit woo-woo, not gonna lie. But you end up supposedly with a closet only containing clothes which spark joy, that make you happy when you put them on. And then having completed the process for clothes, you repeat the process for books, papers, miscellany, and sentimental items. The idea is then that you appreciate all of the things in your house, whether they are joy-inspiring or just necessary, because they all help you to live your life well. Or at least, you appreciate all of your things, because throwing out other people's stuff, big no-no. I really like the book, Marie Kondo's slightly eccentric translated voice and all. She gets pretty prescriptive in the order in which you should sort your stuff and how you should put it all into a big pile and sort by category, and she also gets pretty prescriptive in how you should fold your socks, but when it comes to which possessions to keep and which to discard, she lets your joy be your guide. Thing is, there are professional organizers, usually the kind who write articles on Real Simple or similar, who will tell you that you should throw out anything you haven't used in X months or discard any clothing you haven't worn in Y years. Some people will attempt to persuade you that 30 hats is far too many, or that your woolens collection is just much too large, you weirdo. But Marie Kondo is perfectly fine with you having 30 hats or 100 pairs of shoes, as long as each one, when held in your hands, brings you joy, and as long as you have somewhere to store it. So anyway, if you like the idea of having less crap or more space/joy in your life, give the book a whirl and see what you think. Or just read one of the 3 gajillion articles on the subject. Most of the criticisms of the book I've seen fall into 3 different categories. But I want to keep my stuff. This book is weird. And a sprinkling of the more pertinent, minimalism is only for rich people. But we'll get to that one in a second. I just want to keep my stuff tells you that they haven't read the book, because Marie Kondo is perfectly happy for you to keep your stuff if it brings you joy. If you want to keep stuff which does not bring you joy, then I guess the book is not for you. Fair enough. This book is weird? Well, yes, I mean, it may not fit exactly with your cultural experiences or mine, but that doesn't necessarily make it weird, just different. The author's obsessiveness is, granted, a touch weird, but I personally find it kind of charming. That said, your mileage may vary. Right, but minimalism is for rich people. That bears some examination, because it is, kinda true. In a consumerist culture with a lot of cheap crud available, and especially when an individual might not have a great deal of perceived control over their life, and in places where there is generally a relative abundance of space in which to store things, pack rat tendencies are kind of inevitable. And even among people who don't tend to hoard, you know, maybe some things you have are kind of crummy, but you have to keep them because you can't afford to replace them yet. Marie Kondo's book does not really take this into consideration, although she has answered questions on it since then. But then the book is from her perspective as a one-on-one tidying consultant in Japan, and this is not someone you hire if you're a poor person. Incidentally, her answer to, "but I can't afford to replace this even though it's crummy," is, well, you just have to keep it for now then, but when you get around to replacing it, try and replace it with something that actually does spark joy. Thing is though, while she cautions against hoarding too many toothbrushes or too much toilet roll or whatever, she isn't a possessions snob. She just wants everything you own to make you happy and not get in the way of the life that you actually want. One of the genuinely life-changing things about the book is how it can alter your relationship to your stuff. As in, you become more aware of your stuff and its place in your life, and you become much less willing to let non-joy sparking things into your space. And that's probably a good thing for your peace of mind and the non-destruction of the planet and your ability to walk across your floor without tripping. However, even if you embrace minimalism wholeheartedly, please don't be a snobby jerk about it. I have absolutely no patience with the competitive minimalism that a certain section of the internet seems to indulge in. It's not just things like 100 things minimalism, because it's entirely possible only to own 100 items and not be a snobby jerk about it, but there is this section of minimalism which is really smug about how their possessions are the best man can get, not like these hordes of consumer drones who buy everything all the time. People, you are still defining yourself by your possessions. It's just a different set of possessions to normal, whoop-de-doo. Isn't the point of minimalism that you spend less time thinking about all of the stuff that you own and can get on with doing the important things in life? Yes? No? Maybe? Got a little off track there. Anyway, to sum up, if you're in the market for an organizing technique which is slightly woo but surprisingly effective, give the life-changing magic of tidying up a go. Try the book, or watch the videos, pile up all of your stuff and take it in your hands, and let me know how joyous you feel.